Yesterday, I had a conversation with the administrator of the FAA. It was chilling. As everyone knows, the FAA announced that it is putting in place a mandatory 10% reduction in flights in the 40 largest airports in America. What the administrator of the FAA told me yesterday on the phone was why. And here's what Administrator Bedford said. He said, last Friday, which was Halloween, half of the busiest 30 air traffic control facilities were short-staffed. That includes New York, Austin, Newark, Phoenix, Washington, Nashville, Dallas, and Denver. I want you to listen to this next statistic. Nearly 80% of the air traffic controllers in New York City called out. They did not show up to work. Nearly 80%. Senator Schumer represents New York City. Nearly 80% of the controllers called out on Halloween. There were rampant delays. The FAA said the aggregate data, the whole national airspace system, looked okay. But then they deaggregated the data, looking at the 40 biggest airports in particular. It painted a very different picture. Here's what the administrator of the FAA told me. Pilots filed more than 500 voluntary safety reports about air traffic control problems they were encountering. Air traffic controllers that were fatigued, that were tired, they were making mistakes. And what's the Democrats' views? Well, there's an old line that a gaffe is when someone in Washington accidentally tells the truth. You heard Chuck Schumer say every day gets better for us. Here's what one Democrat aide told CNN. Another senior Democrat aide said, as long as public perception is in their favor, the party will not concede short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky. Turning to my Democrat colleagues saying, this is not a joke. First of all, the shutdown happened because Senator Schumer had to demonstrate he was tough, so he didn't get primaried by AOC in New York. Then the next threshold was the No Kings rallies. They had to show they were tough enough that when radicals were marching in cities across the country, they were as angry as the blue-haired, angry radicals. Then we had Election Day. They were going to keep everything shut down to Election Day because it energized their base. And then Democrats won elections in the very blue state of New Jersey, the very blue state of Virginia, and the insanely blue city of New York City. And suddenly Democrats said, holy cow, our really left-wing voters like it when we shut the government down. Are there any Democrats on that side of the aisle for whom responsibility matters? Or is every one of them proud to say, we will keep it shut down until planes fall out of the sky?